So welcome everyone for coming today to the Save Our Songlines online yarning circle. We've got some very special guests with us today. We've got Tootsie Daniel, who's joining us from Fremantle. We've got Uncle Patrick Churnside, who's here down in Perth as well at the moment. Sitting with him is Raelene Cooper, and then Auntie Josie as well, who is here. Everyone's down in Perth, and we'll explain a little bit why we're all down in Perth in a little bit. So the way the event is going to work is that we're going to have a chance to hear from our panellists, and they're going to talk to us about what's been going on in Murujuga, about the significance of that Murujuga country and why it's so important, about the industry that is at Murujuga, the impacts of that industry, and what has been happening, because there's been some pretty significant things happening, I guess, in terms of trying to stand up and talk about that industry. So we'll have everyone, we'll have our guest speakers speak. Then we'll have a little bit of a time for discussion where we'll break into groups and discuss what we've heard. And then the last kind of 10, 15 minutes or so is going to be time for questions. So what we'll do is we'll save all the questions for the end. And if anyone has any questions that they want to send, that they want to ask, send them in a direct message to me in the chat. So if you find my name in the chat, Jared, and send me a message, I'll keep a list of the questions. And then in that last 10 to 15 minutes, yeah, we'll put those questions to the panelists, and hopefully we'll have time to get through all those questions. So yeah, I'd like to invite Uncle Patrick to welcome us all here and to begin.
Thank you, Jared. And thank you everyone for coming online and listening, but also being part of the, I guess, discussion today with everybody. I'd just like to start with all things I do start culturally, speaking language. Traditionally, when we speak up home, we have a language saying, and help me out, Auntie Toots, if you may, when we say, Ngaindari Komowani Moranga. To us, this means we all come together on country.
Yep.
In some way, shape, or form, I think, we all come together. Auntie Toots, you want to share anything or Wanga about that? You're more than welcome. You are one of our Circle of Elder representatives here today, and I'm more than happy to let you speak if you want to wonder, Mama.
Yeah, I just want a little bit about that because Ngaindari Kumani Nguranga, it's always has been our cultural protocols, history from like given down by our ancestors, and they passed the knowledge and onto us, and we need to keep that going because being on country is very, very important for our future generation and for us to keep it going and keep it going strong.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Mum. But if I may, I'll get back to Aliramagu song now, eh? Just to open and Wanga go a little bit. Muranga. Right. Basically, that's my language speaking. And when I speak, I rattle these, well, boomerang we call them. That helps to say knocking on the door of country for some of us. So thank you, everybody. But basically, I spoke in language to say country wherever we are on country, we all come together as the saying we live, Ngandari good morning, Oranga. We come to talk and share about special place, Murujuga Country. Do not get angry with us. Do not worry and stress about some of the things we may share. And do not instill violence or any of those things. As we say, Dalguru Manana, don't strike us down. Be good to us, country, wherever we may be. Thank you, everyone. I like to share a song now. It's one of the songs I shared on the Parliament doorsteps as well, and I thought it might be a good song to talk about and share about development. Now that word development for some people maybe sound different, but this is the song called Development in Jabi form. Banigo, Wangago, Jodo, Jodo, Margona, Lion Warren Bandangari, Bela Madula, Pilbara Mandangula, Gangari, Bela Madula, Joro, Gajiri, Joba, Jurga, Gatumbu, Manara, Bawalan, Margo, Gagara, Yongo. The song, as it's spoken or sung, translate as such. There he sits, bold as a fig, and tells us that lines will run everywhere. Liar, through Pilbara, near the pools. Liar, no brains, no hair. He'll find sand to wipe his ass there. The big shot from Perth. This is a jabi in Karriara and Ngarluma by a man named Chabi. Some of the research I've come to find, but also hear about with this jabi, my Jojo Mainga, great-grandfather before me, was a Nyeniri, a songman who sang and shared these form of jabi songs. I heard this song before me from my grandfather. That is partly why I have the ability, but knowledge to be able to share in my capacity. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, some of the significance, I guess, moving into the next part of discussion is to say why we want to open up some of this discussion and what some of the questions or concerns may be about that significance. For some of us, as our logos say, save our songlines, say no to the gas and developments. That's part of the critical significance of why we're standing, but also speaking out about some of these issues, I believe. In saying that, songs like Jabi, there are other forms of songs, song lines. In some ways, cultural way, we call this jina or dreaming or jogorba, as other language names have been referred to. For most traditional Lona people around Australia, these are the type of significant issues that we raise and talk about, but hoping that some of the questions, and concerns raised today may help us all to have a better discussion in general around the country of Australia, if you may. I might pass over to, I think under Jared, just correct me if I'm wrong, our agenda. What's our agenda to talk about next?
So I might just jump in for a second, if I may, Patrick, and I apologize, I didn't really introduce you properly. I feel like I should have introduced you a little bit more to say that you're Ngarluma Yindjibarndi man and you're the former cultural advisor to Murujuga Aboriginal Corporation. So yeah. And I also just want to say before we go on, another thing I should have done as well at the start was just to acknowledge that most of us are on Noongar country and pay respect to the Noongar people. And and to their elders and express our gratitude for being on their country. And I actually see Marissa from Yindjibarndi Dreaming is on the call, local Noongar woman. So yeah, thank you for having us on your Noongar country. Do you want to say a word or two, or you don't have to, but yeah.
Happy to share if you want to.
Right? Okay. Oh, you talking to?
I was just going to say, now you're putting me on the spot there.
Sorry.
Kaya, thank you for that beautiful welcome to Tootsie and Patrick and Ray. Thank you so much. I'm very interested in hearing this session today. So, you know, as Aboriginal people, we can always learn and get better at sharing cultural information. So that's pretty much why I'm here. So, yeah, let's listen into you guys, and if we can contribute a bit later with some yarning, that'll be great. And thanks everybody else for joining.
Great. Thanks. It's good to see you here, Marissa. Yeah.
Thanks.
So I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to play the video from Tootsie, talking about the Perdaman development in particular. So for those who don't know, there are kind of two current developments proposed on the Murujuga Country, one being the Woodside Scarborough project, and the second being the Perdaman urea development. And here's a video from a couple of weeks ago, filmed by Nada Media, that we're going to share with Tootsie talking about that Perdaman.
Tootsie, everyone, is one of our circle of elders and committee members in Murujuga.
She's also been on the board of directors.
And still today has a long history of some of that knowledge, cultural authority, but also, I guess, cultural recognition on Murujuga. This is her video that maybe to share for everyone. And your wanga mam with bunny wanga in it.
Yes,
What
that's
sort of
right.
things are you thinking about, either home
Oh, yes. I guess it's rest time, and coming back from dialysis yesterday, I had a lot on my mind, but I was tired, and it's really hard to compete with the tiredness. If you want to relax, it's very hard. So a lot of things go through your mind, and I'm not comfortable with. I think about my families, and which is very important, because I always say good night to them. If they don't call me, then makes me worry, you know. And then I worry about country, and country is important to us because it's our life, you know, our mother nature, and all our songlines and rock carvings, they come from country, which is very important. And we have to pass that knowledge on to our children in the next generation. I do worry about, but care about, mostly is about what Perdaman is going to do at our country. And if is Murujuga leading them? They shouldn't, because that country is a very significant place. Significant culture. It draws many to it doors, but we'd like to keep it as it is because, you know, our cultural belongings shouldn't be moved from place to place. It shouldn't be at all. It's a very dynamic place. Not to remove cultural things, cultural property. It's our religion and our culture, our belief is strong. That's been put there 40,000 years ago, or 400,000 years ago. And it's really important to our people, very important. And Murujuga is leading them into that position where they can get power. They shouldn't be getting power from. Murujuga is just a corporation. The whole power comes from the people. That's guardians of that place. We are the guardians of Murujuga land itself, not the corporation. We are guardians of Murujuga itself, the land, the country, and the sea country. That is our religion. Whatever is in the sea belongs to us. Whatever belongs to the land belongs to us. The rock carvings, the food, the medicines, it all belong to us. It doesn't belong to Murujuga Corporation.
I understand that Perdaman got its Section 18 approved. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know who approved it, because I know I've never been in contact with them at all. And Section 18, what does that do? Does mean it's been approved to damage sites, which is wrong. Don't let them damage our sites. Who's going to benefit from that? Perdaman or the elders? You know, it's sad to see our elders go one by one. You know, they'll disappear from this country. They'll go somewhere else. But Perdaman must respect us, and we must tell them to leave our country alone. Don't ever go near it, or don't ever touch it, please. But I like to talk about the Yada too. The Yada was created by me and my late husband. Before, it wasn't just a bowshed, it was just a big gum tree where we used to go and he used to do his little tourism business there, see? And I used to make damper under the trees and take my kids, and kids used to play and walk around everywhere. Our children, they knew all the danger areas, but they respected it. So, but now the rangers, since then the rangers we have given them permission to go and put a yada there, you know, bowshed, and the yada is it stands for like bush like a house, shade, for those that don't know what yada is. So we go spend our time working there and telling, and the elders, the old people, come together, and just from all different tribes come together and have a meeting and discussion about Murujuga. Of course, we share that in the BIMIA agreement, and so we sat down, and we all know how important the Yada is, a gathering place for all the people. Anyone is welcome to come there. That's what the Yada is. And we sit down and talk about country. We sit down and talk about, our carvings and all that, how important it is to keep this going. And showing it to our people, showing it to young ones.
Well, the Yada, I think, is inside the footprint of Perdaman, but I looked on a map and I think it's been it'll be protected, but it's still inside the area, as I understand it.
Well, I never gave them any permission to go inside. All I told them was to go that far, and that's all. Because Perdaman said they were going to build shower blocks and put water taps there for us. Now, is that a kindness and favour they show us? We don't want them ever going near our Yada, because the Yada is a very important place. It is a significant site too. So Perdaman, you keep away from the Yada, please.
There's a Wonga with Woodside on the 1st of March. They're going to talk about Scarborough, which is the expansion. Yeah. Have you got any concerns about expanding industry up on Murujuga and at Dampier, bringing more gas into the equation in terms of a situation where we've got global warming and burning gas is not good for climate change? What's your thought or questions?
I guess white people doesn't understand about global warming in the area, in the country itself, because it's gas is making environment change all around the Burra Peninsula, and it's never used to be like that before. See, you look at all the trees, most of it is all dying, and scientifically it's not even getting any more greener. The whole area is changing with the heat of the gas coming out of the underground, and it affects it does affect the global warming. The white man just doesn't understand about climate changes because it affects the whole area. It affects the community and the town and the people itself. Because you look, the climate changes, as an Aboriginal person, I know that climate changes has made a lot of effect on country. We have rain coming in like a big tsunamis, and we have dust storms coming that never ever used to come. This is all to do with this global warming. This is all got to do with that. What the white man is trying to do and build is to damage and rot our place up, which is not good. And, Burrup is going to, next time, I reckon the Burrup will blow up in a minute, what they're trying to do, because it can't hold its feet any longer.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hope you guys like.
Toots, just while we maybe a few minutes to talk about what that meant for you, and what you want to share with everybody here, maybe.
Yeah, well, I could, me, my God, my nana and my daughter, I get really emotional, when I talk about country.
Yeah.
I love the Burrup. Burrup has a special place for all of us. That's why we put it into our BB agreement, because it's a place. All people put it in there for us. And Burrup is not just any other place, not just any other site. It means a lot to us. It's something that's really in our hearts, even our children. When we should tell them when we tell our kids we go to Burrup, and they should go, yeah, we go to Burrup, because they were really happy for that place. Because there are rock carvings there that they can see, and stories that from Balam, a long time ago, stories. That's like our footprints, but that's why it's a very, very, very important place. And it's a sacred place for us. Even the sea country, whatever they find in the sea, it comes back to us. But, I have a really strong sense of belonging. We all should. Strong sense of belonging, that we are people from the Burrup too, but we are the custodians, all of us 5 tribes, and I'm just really proud of this, and for our work, and thank you 3 young people carrying on this job, and the responsible, I just pray that you guys would be strong, and we supportive, and our people in the community are strong too. They all love the Burrup. Burrup is a sacred place for us. It should have been our tourism place, but we don't want any mining companies going there to destroy it.
That Wanga and sharing after that video, but helping everyone understand better, and where we have some of our senior elders, one of our elders that sits on the council. So thank you, Mum, for sharing also with that.
Thank you, Brad. Love you.
Love you.
Thanks, Mum.
On the agenda.
Hello. Sorry, I'm late.
No worries. So I think next up, Auntie Josie Alec is going to speak. So Auntie Josie is a Kuruma Mardudhunera custodian of the Burrup. She makes jumi, which is bush medicine from plants. Jummy from plants that are found on the Burrup. And she's also a singer and an actor and done a lot of different things. So Auntie Josie's going to talk to us about some of what's going on out on the Burrup now.
Yeah, so hi everybody, thank you all for being here. I just want to say a special thanks, Mum Toots, for coming on and being here. I've also got some special people that are special to my heart on here too. I've got my daughter, but I've also got my mum and dad, my foster parents are on here too. So hi, Mum and Dad, thank you for being on, and my foster sister Leanne, my big sister, and everybody that's down here, friends and family. I think for me, this journey, I just want to speak a little bit about our journey. We started probably in about November last year. Nobody knew, none of us knew about these companies. Nobody knew about Kuruma. Nobody knew about Woodside. And I know Ray will elaborate a little bit more on that when she has a yarn. But no idea that these companies were going to expand, and these companies were going to put another, this great big urea factory on there, on the country. Then as we, the information started coming to us, we found out that, these guys want to move sacred sites and sacred rock from that country. And for us, for the Murujuga people, we hold those songlines. We hold them within ourselves, within our hearts, in our spirits, through our ancestors. And we are, as Mum Toots was saying, we are the custodians of those songlines. And it is very important to us as younger people, younger generation, to now help our elders and our ancestors and the country to bring it back and heal it through challenging these systems that we've been challenging, and just giving that voice to the country. For me, my whole thing about doing Jummy, which is bush medicine, and that connection that we have to that, and the connection that those plants and animals have to that country, is one of the main things that keeps us going in humanity as people, and everywhere. Without the plants and animals, we couldn't exist. So this is a part of our part of us existing as human beings on this country. The rock art plays a huge part in that, because that has all of these stories that are on that. They are not just pretty pictures on rocks. They actually carry stories. And very important stories. This is the world's encyclopedia sitting right there in those rocks. They have different stories. They have, they've given a law and culture to our people, to our ancestors, for them to keep there and to sustain life and the life force that comes from that place, which is so amazing, incredible, which runs all the way through the world in the dreaming stories, not only in Australia, but all the way across all of her ley lines, all of the water sources, everywhere. This water is so important to us. We can't live without it. The animals and the plants can't live without it. The songlines, the whales, even this from the sea to the country, this is what holds us on the ground. And like Mum Toots said, if that place Murujuga, if it has any more, it cannot. How is it going to be able to cradle and coexist? It cannot coexist with industry. The industry is basically just plonking itself on there, and the whole country. This is a hip bone sticking out, they call it. This is the place, and we don't want it to go underwater or to blow up, which again, these are likely possibilities of these things happening with more and more industry there. Also, like I say, the plants and animals, they can't coexist with industry because they're just getting poisoned by industry. Not only then, those plants and animals are also written on the rocks. Their stories are written on the rocks as well. They all have stories. And for sustainability. Now, the emissions that are coming off of these rocks are so dangerous and deadly that every single second of the day, they are eradicating those stories on the rocks. And there's scientific proof, and we have that proof. The industry trying to say, no, it's not doing anything to the rocks. Well, it is. It is. We have seen photos of the rocks in the 80s compared to photos of the rocks now. They are fading away. The pictures are fading away. So it's like the world's encyclopedia is getting erased. And this is, for us, this is why we stand here. This is why, Save Our Songlines and saving the Burrup is so important to us. It's not only just because we want to stand up and talk, it's because we need to voice the opinions of the ones that can't talk, the rocks, who have the stories. We are the ones that speak for them, the custodians, the plants and the animals, the sea, the water, the ocean, everything that is accumulated in that spot. It goes out to the wider world, and it runs along through the earth, through Mother Earth. I mean, she's what everybody stands on. So for me, the importance of saving the songlines is so important as healing ourselves and healing Mother Earth, because some of those stories in those rocks are about healing and keeping strong, keeping your willard, which is your soul, your everything, keeping that strong, and basically, yes, having that voice to speak out against the atrocities that these mining companies are doing and the industry is doing to that place. It's as Yurara people, we have been blindsided. The old people were blindsided by these country, by big talk. Big talk. Yeah, and so it's basically we need to speak up, and I'm really proud to stand with especially my little brother Patrick and my niece Ray, who has been through so much to this fight. My big sister Ray's mum, she stood at those gates with my other sisters, Mum Tootsie's daughters, Raelene, and the girls. They stood at those gates as well, right with your mum. And my sister, we've got the photos when Woodside started there, and they've already ripped up a whole hill of rock and stories. So basically, we need to stand strong again. We're in a different time now. We're in a different place, well, same place, different time now, and we have a voice and we will use it. And the information, that we're getting is making us stronger as well. And the more people around us that are thinking the same thing, and with all the heartfelt intent, because that's what we do. We do everything with the heart centre. This is gonna, we're going to be able to at least get our voices across. So from me, myself, to everybody that's here, biggest love, and keep supporting us and keep fighting the fight as long as we can. This is for our elders and our ancestors. So thanks everybody, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Josie.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to say one more thing too. When we're talking about Murujuga, we're not only talking about the sustainability for our ancestors, and I'm talking about everybody's ancestors. Black, Brindle, whatever culture you come from, it is all there in the rocks, and this is for humanity's sake. And another thing is that this Murujuga should be World Heritage listed by now, and it's not. It should be a World Heritage list. It actually should be at the top, and it should be 8 wonders of the world, and this one should be at the top, like Chapel will tell you. This is one of the most incredible sites in the world, with like right up there with the pyramids and all the Stonehenge and all of these places. This place has over 1 million pieces of rock art in it. And we all think about it, and we, like I said, with all that intent, we can change these things, and we will. It will hopefully eventually get World Heritage listing it needs, but it won't get it when they're building industry on there. I mean, we're not going to give this place away. We're going to fight for it. So thanks everyone.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And now, before we break into discussion, we're going to hear from Raelene Cooper. Raelene is a Mardudhunera custodian and is a former director and chairperson of Murujuga Aboriginal Corporation.
Waiva, Wandiwa, everyone. Brad, hello, missed you. Sorry, I wanted to have a quick little wagga with you.
Yeah.
I just want to let everybody know too, Nana Toots has been very instrumental in Murujuga over time with a lot of our elders out there. Our elders are very important to us. I just want to add, they're what we call our cultural carriers. They're the Yindjibarndi one. They're the ones that hold all the culture and everything that it is that we need to know. And Jada, this grandmother one, she was also a board member as well as the Circle of Elders, and we also have sat on the what do you call it, the World Nomination Committee. So so we kind of know what's sort of where and what sort of happened. And yeah, but I will say that, look, everybody, pleased to meet everybody. I can't see everybody, but anyway, it's a privilege to be here today to share the stories with you, with everybody. I'm going to just put my glass on because Dad's not trying to show me something. Right. So I guess, look, what I'll start with, because that's why we got these guys that push us along. What I'll start with formally is about the conversation, the conversation regarding the open letter. So as Mum Jo sort of touched shortly on it, briefly on it, we were given some information in that time. I will say this up front now, as a director on the board, and Nan, if you want to contribute at any time, please jump in. But in that time, there was not very much information regarding the Perdaman project and the Woodside project. We did have a large conversation, I remember, once upon a time ago, and then of course COVID hit, and then a lot of information was stored and not brought, I guess, to the table as a corporate level, at a board level, for the board to discuss further about a lot of things. So a lot of all of this was new. We did have a couple of conversations with these companies. However, there was no full information. There was not a proper consultation with either the board that I recall, and I do know that the elders at that time were being pressured a lot in terms of these projects. And I do know a few other elders I've spoken to over time within the last 6 months have been very concerned and have basically said that they didn't want the munda to be moved, the rock art to be moved, and nothing to go near the other, of course. Look, in saying that, I'll get onto the letter. So with the information that we had, I was taking this on board and going back to my family and really concerned about it. I know other individuals like Uncle Patrick is also working out there with the elders. And there was a lot of, there was no transparency in a lot of things, and this was really concerning. And at a board level, of course, I brought a lot of this information up that I did know, and I was asking the questions, what's going on? In a brief short, we met the likes of Jared and a few other individuals, and somewhat got a brief intro of what all this was really happening regarding the projects. To us, we were in tears sitting in the backyard because unbeknown to us, we didn't hear about the projects. We knew there was something along the projects happening. However, we didn't understand the add-ons of the projects and what was going to be being built and constructed, a development as big as what they were going to be out at Hearsons, being the Perdaman project, and what chemical project it is. It's a chemical plant.
So in some way saying that you sort of the transparency or information and processes like that was something that you, in your
Yeah.
had seen
Had
and some of the face some
yes.
of the challenges or
That's right.
issues there. Yeah.
So my concerns also was the elders, whether if a lot of our elders, their first language is cultural language. So the understanding, and from what I was feeling in my heart, they weren't understanding and they weren't being given the information to explain properly about what these projects were. And, and I feel, I just felt very uncomfortable about that our old people are being duped, basically, and they weren't being told properly this is what's going on. Because had they really known, I know in my heart, which they continually told myself and a few other people, they didn't want this to happen. Don't move the murder, don't move the rock arts, no sacred, significant places. So I was very concerned about this. However, this letter that was read out in Parliament on Thursday, look, it was a very challenging time for us all. And I guess, we were, have some worries about this and that, when we first started. However, the strength that we've gotten, because through our elders, our cultural knowledge, our ancestors, we were able to share our concerns in this letter. The letter then, it obviously went to industry, Woodside in particular, and it was addressed also to government
and ministers.
And ministers and industry. So it was our heart call, basically to say, and, we speak about it, where do we draw the line? The line was drawn when we left Karratha to fly here, and that was it. And I feel, we all carried that same feeling in our Wirrard, the concerns that we carry for the Ngora,
I think
our ancestors, and our people and the future we have. So in saying that, we haven't had a chance and an opportunity at this stage. We have spoken to a few individuals, government officials in Parliament that morning. However, a meeting with Woodside didn't go ahead. We were welcoming their engagement. So we welcome any more engagement after this, with the open letter that was out in the public. However, I think it's still going to be a bit of a challenge to get to, obviously, where we want to be speaking and really detailing, now this letter to government and industry, and how important this is. So look, what I can tell you now, if I can, via our team here, we forwarded obviously the Section 9 application for the Section 9 to Minister Susan Lay's office, requesting that we have the Section 9 and to put a halt on it. So they've given us roughly 3 months, yes. So that this, I guess, buys us a little time to just, to figure out where to go from here. But we're already a head or two in front, because I guess in this game you've got to play it. And we would welcome all the support that we can from everybody, because this is not, just about us and the Burrup. It's about everybody, all the Ngorora people that are having these, going through the journey and these challenges of fighting for the Ngora and their significance, their sacred sites, their history. And I think it's time, we all come together. Individuals like yourselves who also have vested interest and have worked lifetimes doing the same thing that we're picking up now. We've just been doing it in a different level. You guys more academically, us more, scientifically, us more, we were born with this. So it's something that is true to us, and who we are true to our Ngora, and we welcome everything that, any advice, any guidance, anything that you may consider that would be, relevant and valuable, which I'm sure it would be, to forward to us. And that's, I guess I'll leave it to that. Nan, I just want to say again, miss you, come to see you too. And yeah, I'll hand it back on to whomever.
thanks, Murat.
Thank you very much, Ray.
I think the importance also to reiterate in that is about, but hoping that some of you have got a bit of an idea, to those listeners out there, and to everyone else that, are tuning in. The message is about, a few points of importance. One, we talk of culture and, promoting and sharing with you here today some of that, with the likes of one of our cultural leaders, our circle of elders online with us today, which we're very grateful for. Environmental, so we're sharing and talking openly about what impacts the environment is going to sustain, how much the damage is going to cause, and what the future generations may be left with in some ways as well. And then lastly, speaking of, those processes, policies, but ways of how things are done in today's society, I guess. Back to you, Gerard. Where are we at the moment in the
Thank you. Yeah, so look, we're running a little bit behind time, but we'll probably stretch the call out for an extra half an hour or so. And if people need to leave, then that's fine. But it would be good to just give everyone the chance to have their discussion. I think, Josie, there might have been, you wanted to say something else as well before we go on?
Yeah, just quickly as well. There's a lot of elders as well back at home, especially one that has been supporting this as well. Again, Robin Churnside as well. So I've just want to do a quick shout out to her as well, because she has been an instrumental part in this journey from the beginning as well. So I just had to say that as well. Yeah, thanks.
So great.
Okay.
Hopefully there were some good discussions there, and we're going to have some time in a moment for questions. So if anyone has a question, please just send it through to me in the chat, and then I'll pose the questions shortly to our panelists. Before we do that though, Tootsie would like to speak.
Thank you, Gerard. Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear, yeah.
Good. Just going back, a couple of years down the track, my interest for the Burrup Peninsula, for Murujuga, was like not sure, not quite sure. And anyway, I just went on with the flow, and well, like my knowledge, I had to be certain in my wirat, Ngarluma wirata, that because I had to get a vision or a dream about getting a clear picture of the place, and being cultural, like I'm an elder and all that it just normally comes to me, whether I'm sitting or in my sleep. And anyway, but I've always had love for Murujuga Burrup, always, since we.
And Tootsie, when we came, can you hear me?
Hey?
It's Judith here.
Sorry, Judith, we're going to just do questions. If you can send the questions to me, we'll pose them separately. We'll just let Tootsie finish first, and then.
I was just reiterating what she was saying, because we went to visit, you remember, the Circle of Elders, and a couple of times, Stephen Bennett and I, and John Black, and you were very supportive of us when we told you then about the chemical damage that was going to be done. It was a few years back.
It was, and I've always been supportive of Burrup anyway. Not saying that I haven't, but this is just some like a vision or a dream. If you're an Aboriginal person, you will get those visions from ancestors. But anyway, being on the Burrup and having meetings and going out on country, taking young ones and just gathering with elders. One afternoon, we were sitting at this time now, we were sitting down having afternoon tea, and the elders were yarning and all that, But in the background, I was sitting down in the background, I can hear little voices, talking and playing. And I told them, Mom, you can hear that? You can hear the voices in the background, little children playing around. It was as if they were happy to have owners, happy to have and us to be able to be walking on country again. They say Burrup has been a lonely place. it's not going to be a lonely place anymore, because it's going to be a people where we're going to have our gatherings. And it was a time, that afternoon, I'll never forget that. And anyway, and after that, I went to a board meeting, and one of the rangers told me that on the Ngajali trail, they were on that Murujuga, Ngajali trail, Murujuga, in the Mandabra, in the hills there. And yeah, the gorges, and they was telling me about the carvings. And then one of the couple of rangers said to me, "Oh, Dale, there's a carvings, Yindjibarndi carvings there." And you know what? That made me just jump up. I said, "Yeah, I wouldn't think Yindjibarndi people would be put me, but I'm gonna put this into like a story anyway." Yindjibarndi carvings was there, and I said, "Well, must be the Yindjibarndi people being here." And anyway, because now and then the next day, another chapter story come into my life again, not in my life, in my Wurada was now I it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I had to put it all together, and then I thought, well, okay, well, Murujuga at that time was a very, 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 very significant place. Murujuga, you see a lot of white brothers, they go to the Parliament House. Murujuga Ngananadado, Parliament House, I will call it a capital, because all the nations, language, all the elders, all the nations of Aboriginal people gathered in a certain place in Murujuga. And Murujuga is a place of parliament for us. And that's the picture I got. And not only parliament, Murujuga is our capital. It's our state, it's our capital. And that's what I have been saying. I put that record, I told Terry, you put that down on the World Heritage listing too. Murujuga is our capital, is our state, our territory. Just like white brothers go to to Canberra.
Yeah.
Well,
I see.
I want to nail that on the head now.
That's a good one, Mum. It's like what I hear you sort of saying. You're saying the politicians and the parliamentarians, when they go sit in the places like Duma House, or as they may refer, Damas, sorry, they sit there as that politician. When we go as a Murujuga people, country people, custodial people, we go, and Murujuga was one of those very places. Would you agree, Mom?
That's right.
You in essence would be one of those ministers.
That's right.
That's right.
And Murujuga is the Parliament House for all of our ministers, Narangali.
Definitely, yeah. That's what I tell. That's why I tell nurses, brother, whatever, and I'm saying, what am I doing here? I said to them, what am I doing? I shouldn't be here, but what am I doing here? But I said, I'm going to and the nurse will do. Well, because your job isn't finished yet. I said, yeah, that's why I got another chapter to go. And I'm just really amazed. The things that are happening to me, but I needed my rest. That's why I tell the other elders over there, you must carry on with your job. Don't worry about me. Just carry on. I want to get myself better so I can do more work too, but I'll do it more stronger. And while I'm in here, I'm here for a reason. But that's what Murujuga is our capital. Must understand that. I want the white man, everyone, parliament, and even the premiers to know that that is our government. That is our capital, our state, our territory. And that's why all those custodian people gathered in that one place for corroborees, everything, that had to do with Murujuga. Isn't it amazing? Because I'm very spiritual, see, and I can see all these things. And I dream about Murujuga many times. When I go to hospital, when I go to hospital there, that country not far, you know? I
Yeah.
got by Mangan, went there traveling. And I was on top of this high hill in Murujuga. I was standing on top of that high hill, and I saw this big black clouds coming over. And I said, no, I'll go the other way. I just was caught in the American government and just went the other way. You know, it is very significant, that place. And Murujuga, they want to buy us for money. No, money don't mean nothing.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Tootsie. Yeah, thank you.
All of that with us. Yeah.
So we have a few questions that I might pose now to some different to our panelists. This first one, Patrick, might be something that you are able to speak about and other people as well. And the question is from Amanda, and she says, what has happened with the Heritage Act laws and how do they intersect with this? So how does this relate with the state heritage laws? Are they working? Are they relevant here?
Good question. To try maybe help answer some of the question when it comes to heritage legislation. Being a former ACMC committee member, I had a lot of sort of, exposure to talking about that and the legislations, but what, it talks about in the Heritage Act legislations, Section 5, for example. This has always been contentious for me, and speaking from experience about some of those meetings or coming away from that, I always felt very challenged, up to the point where I was angry or frustrated walking away. In some of these discussions, when they, come to talk or classify heritage, an example would be a stone tool or an object. Under some parts of the current legislation, one tool or one object does not meet the criteria. Yeah? One song that may be sung, but is sacred and should not be sung in public, may connect all of that together in ways that heritage and legislation currently in its form will not ever understand.
Yeah.
If that helps answer some more about, without going into too much sensitivity about what it means and how we explain it.
Yeah.
I guess that's my sort of view on what I see when it comes to heritage or legislation regarding heritage. Now, that's only in one aspect I will share about Aboriginal heritage. Now, what about if we flip the script on the other token to talk about state heritage? For me, that's a different view. And if any of those out there are willing or keen to, see if you can look up in the state heritage legislation to find any parts of a Section 18 permit.
Yeah.
The same that they would have under Aboriginal heritage. I've struggled to find where that meets.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the clarity or transparency I'm looking or trying to, challenge in ways. We have, on one hand, a piece of heritage or legislation to the state, just as we have one piece of legislation and heritage to Aboriginal people. Are we not the same human people living in this country?
Mm-hmm.
Why are the laws different when it comes to those different, heritage aspects? That's partly some of the, background, but work I've done on culture and heritage, creating a documentary with a Ngarluma filmmaker man and, countryman back home, Mr. Tyson Marin, where we actually created a documentary about this type of issue, Connection to Country, it's called. I think if that helps answer the question, Jared.
Definitely, yeah, thank you. And I guess a bit of a question that a few people are asking, which is kind of related in a way, is about, I'm going to try and combine a few questions here because there's a few on a similar line. But the question is about how non-Aboriginal people, how can we talk about heritage in a way that is respectful? How can we help you share your stories in a way that is respectful? And are there things that we need to be sensitive of and careful of as non-Aboriginal people?
Can I just jump in quickly, briefly?
Please, yeah, please.
Just to reiterate also, everybody, on what Uncle Patrick was saying. So Murujuga in particular, I found, because Uncle Patrick's very switched on and very knowledgeable about the Heritage Act. So it was a bit of a learning thing, because within the positions, and Nan will be able to maybe say something about that as well, or agree to what I'm saying. So it was those important things at a corporate and board level to be able to get an understanding in your head around, right? So you have the Heritage Act. Now we've got the new Heritage Act. However, we've also got the conservations, the land management. Then you've got the, all these, acts and legislations,
laws, I guess.
On Murujuga in particular. I queried and questioned many a times with government officials and those of those legislations and the regularity bodies, because it confused the shit out of me, excuse the French, simply because those acts didn't actually, one would go, for the Heritage Act over here on the National Park at Murujuga, and then you've got the Conservation Act, and that one simple clause in that act then bounces off the clause and contradicts
Makes it complicated.
So it was, I queried and questioned, and I kept slamming and asking the questions, but not one person could actually define any of these acts to me, to explain to me, to give me knowledge in their perspective. Their government, they wrote these legislations and acts, tell me how that works out here, because they're just bouncing off each other. They contradict each other and they don't work. And simply, if you go to do this and take that Section 18 away from this area, then that will account to this area over here with Section 18 will destroy this part of this. Confusing as heck. And as far as I'm concerned, that whole conservation, the legislation of everything out there needs to be looked at. The BIMI agreement is another story, all to start with. That also clashes with those acts.
I think to probably capture it all in essence, where we talk of legislations, acts and laws, pretty much as Annie Toots, and we have expressed, Murujuga is the Parliament House. So in saying so, we would agree, and please join in if you do agree, Mum. The legislation was already written there for us.
Yes.
In the rocks and the carvings. And we are simply expressing and I guess getting that awareness out there to say our legislation is already there. We have ministers of that legislation with us today. We simply share openly and be able to, as much as we can within our cultural restrictions, protocols and boundaries to share. But as we always, traditional owner, Aboriginal custodial people, we're always sharing in that respect also.
I think yellow.
Would you agree that one, Mum, like that? We got the legislation there, one thing maninga.
Yeah, the legislation's there, but I'm going to talk about like the White Bella Way. They write all the legislations on the piece of paper, right? And that's their legislation. That is their legislation. Where was the Aboriginal people contact? They should have Aboriginal people sitting there, directing them, telling them what to say. That's why they lost for words. They want to make their own legislation with that Aboriginal voice and advice. See, that's where they try to come and set up park all these legislations.
Mm.
And sometimes even the park, what do you call this? Park committees or what? Anyway, they don't have a say really. It's up to,
Yeah.
you know,
But they establish these committees and
on
groups
their own.
to talk that way. Yes, would you agree in saying that, Mum? Yeah.
And we don't want to fight them. We don't want to argue with them. We want to work with them.
Mm.
They want to do it, but the legislation belongs to the parliament, belongs to government. All right. You, I mean, they can destroy anything if they want to, but they can't. They have to come and talk to us.
Mm.
First. We want the same. We want them to. We want to see it on paper.
Yeah.
Mm. I think more bigger question there, Auntie, and that might be, for a discussion for another time or people to think about. This could, lead into more discussions about enshrining in the Constitution some of our very legislations, has been the, discussion and topic, around Australia as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Aboriginal people everywhere, really, more different.
Where they talk about, Mum, we got to have our law in the Constitution or enshrined, a voice, a wonder, if we will. Yeah.
No more treaties.
That's right.
Put it in the Constitution.
Because old people tell me, don't want guy white everything.
Yeah.
Don't give them all our knowledge, everything. You keep some of the important ones in us.
Yes.
And why we keep it in us, because it's our learning and experience. You three, you've always got a knowledge, spokesperson, singer. Don't worry about NRA, about blood groups. As long as we're Aboriginal, we're all one. We all have a say, everyone.
Good morning, Murujuga.
Good morning. Don't worry about what other people say. You're all one. We're all one. Because when I come here to Perth, mix up with my brothers and sisters here, and I tell them we all one, Wherever we go to meeting, conference, we all one, eh?
Yeah.
No? Because we have one voice and in unity.
Yeah.
All right?
I think in the interest of time, maybe just one more kind of big question that a lot of people are asking. And this question is about what's next for this fight and what can people here do to help as well?
But one thing, sorry, Gerard.
No, go for it. Go ahead.
One thing you can't take away from us is our culture. I mean, what do you do? Government mob, they can't take away our culture, our pride for our land and country and sea is our talent. We all have gifts and talents. Songwriter, like Mom Sunday, and a poet. You read, our old people was a poet. So we can be like, we can make that. It's been our footsteps follow on from generation to generation. See? And so we have that gift to share that to our children, and we can say to our Manglara, one day you're going to be a leader. When your kids grow up, one day you're going to be a leader. I see that in people. I'm a very spiritual person. I see that, and I tell them, you're going to be a leader one day. They don't believe me, but you three have to be strong and believe that.
Thank you, Mum.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you. Thanks, Mum.
Yeah.
All right.
The question.
Yeah, Auntie Josie, maybe you might want to talk on this one about what's next and what people can do to help.
Okay, so next for us is that we are still, we're still in this little battle with Susan Lay and the Section 9s and, Perdaman trying to remove that sacred heart out at Murujuga now so they can put their plant on. So we, like Ray was saying, we've sort of stalled them a little bit, but the government, you can never trust them. So we have to keep on them all the time. So our jobs, that we've been doing for a while now is, hopefully as many voices as we can get. We've got a link up on the chat there that anybody can go on and just email Susan Lay's office. And there's a letter there if you want to put whatever you want on there, put it on there. But just email and just show support for the Save Us Online and for the the rock art up there so it doesn't get removed. Yeah, and we also have a GoFundMe page as well, and we have a Save Our Songlines website, which has a lot of information in it as well. The GoFundMe page, funds the stuff like us coming to Perth, bringing this open letter to Susan Lay, to the government, and to keep on, just to keep on moving on them at all times. We are also going to, when COVID sort of passes a little bit up there and the numbers get, vaccination numbers get over 50% in Roban, we are going to also hold our rally, which we wanted to hold back in March on the 13th, but due to COVID, we couldn't do it. So I suppose it gives us a little bit more time to keep the momentum up, to keep, getting shirts for people, keeping this awareness out, and sharing this. For us, it's about sharing and about getting that knowledge out and the awareness about how important this is to everybody, especially, to us, to our elders, and to the movement that is happening around Australia right now with all Indigenous people. There's fracking going on in country. There's, there's people actually out on ground, in the Yindjibarndi. We are all supporting each other, and so we are like, I say we're just like building an army, but we're not like the corporations with their sort of I don't know, it's sort of all their big money and everything like that. Can pay for lawyers and this and the other. We are, just we're volunteers. We're all volunteers. We do this with all our heart, and so we are fighting this battle for the long haul, because this is who we are, and this is our job. We are obligated to do this, and it sort of fell in our laps, and it is a struggle at times. We have lots of family. We have all of this, like everybody else, but we but what we have is love, and we have love for our country, love for our elders, and love for each other, and that's what brings us through. And and that joining that our hearts with other people and other people supporting us. This is a heart-centered job, and this is a heart-centered campaign. So everybody who joins us, the world's changing. So it's about the climate. It's about our future. So there's a couple of things there. There's 2 links that are just on the chat room now. And if anybody, wants to know anything else, just, Jared, we call him G. He's like G. Jared is going to, so G's going to basically pass that on to any one of us if anybody wants to know anything. Just getting that message out. It's the most important thing at the moment, and for us to be at the forefront of this battle, I suppose. To get these things out. We do live in a vast area where we're from, so we have to travel a lot to go and get things and do things, and there's a lot of work that is involved in doing something like that, and something like this. And we love it, because this is, you get your ups and you get your downs, but the ups are they're the ones that keep you going. And so just I really urge everybody to get on and email Susan Lay's office, especially in now the federal elections coming up. So, and send her all, send her all the like, send the support for the rock art all the way, because this is for the rock art, and it's for, like I said, humanity. And we don't want our kids breathing, their breathing being compromised in the future, because this is what it's all about. There's been a G20, and the government hasn't listened, and so we need to, there's a lot of things at stake here, like we're pulling down and challenging a government system that is flawed, and we are, we are also trying to trying to get this message across about saving our future, which a lot of people in the world are. So I think for that, if like I said, get on, email Susan Lay, and we've got a GoFundMe page. If anybody, anything helps, just to, you know, to keep us going. You know, we, like I said, we're not a big corporation like them. We don't have any funding from anybody. We just, you know, the government wouldn't get us in anyway because we'd be fighting against them. But but I suppose so. You know, anything you can do to raise the awareness and support us is much felt through our hearts. And thanks everyone for being here again. Like, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I just want to say, on behalf of everyone on the call, I think I can say, you know, we really, really appreciate the chance to learn and to listen to you. You know, as a non-Aboriginal person, it feels like a privilege and really generous that you are so willing to share. So thank you very, very much. And there's just a question in the chat about, someone asked about T-shirts, I saw. We're going to try and get some more T-shirts and sell them on the website, but we don't have them yet. So yeah, we'll do that soon. And I think, Auntie Josie, Uncle Pat, would you want to have a quick word?
Just like to say lastly, thanks for everybody, you know, that came on board. Thank you, Mum, for coming and Wanyari, and good to see that you still love our running.
Love you.
Yes, we'll hopefully see you back on country.
Mum.
But I guess the three main key points I guess we raise or want to lastly add, I like to put about is, you know, as we all came to talk about culture, country and the environment, you know, and from the corporate structures and setups and decision-making processes, how it affects all of these things in unison together in this country, or, you know, in the world, if you will. But yeah, thanks, and happy for everybody to come and share with us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got to, I'll just do a song to get us out of here. Get us out of here. And this is a song that Mum Toots, you helped us write as well, the river song for the women, for the ladies. Yeah. Nandari bangai na unduala, babu nuangai unduala, wai ganangari ma unduala, unduala wangandari. Why do I ganangari ma? Why ganangari ma? Why do I ganangari ma? Unduala babanu angai, unduala babanu angai, unduala babanu angai. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mum.
Take care, be safe.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Everyone take care and be safe.
Yep. Take care.
No worries.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nan Toots, Uncle Patrick, Sister Ray, Auntie Josie. Thank you. All right.
Robin.
Thanks.